All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Alin, and today I'm going to walk you through the exact copywriting framework that I use for my personal daily email list almost every single day. I'm talking 9 out of 10 emails that I send use this exact framework. So let's dive right in. Actually, before we dive in, if you could take just 1 minute to go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, to this video, it helps us so much. And it lets me know that you find this content very valuable and that you want me to continue creating free content like this for you. Otherwise, I'm going to put everything behind a paywall and just assume you want to pay for everything that I teach, which honestly is not a bad idea. You should pay for the very valuable things that I teach. But today, in this video, I'm giving away what I find is one of the best frameworks ever, so I can't believe I'm giving it away for free. Let's dive right in. All right, so if you're part of my email list, you know that I do not do things like everybody else. If you subscribe to other people's email lists, for the most part, they send you an email once a week and they give you like a list of stuff that is value-based, okay? Here's 10 things that I learned, or 5 podcasts that I listened to, or 5 lessons, or 10 books that I'm reading. Like, they just give you a listicle of all the things they're learning and value and all that stuff. And it's cool, that's fine, but that's not how I do things, okay? The way that I do things is completely different, and I have found it to skyrocket my engagement way more when I switched to this method. In fact, back in the day, I used to do that old weekly newsletter, value-based thing that most people do. In fact, I had a newsletter called the Sunday 6, and I did this for about 9 months. And for 9 months, I wrote the 6 favorite things that I ran into that week, whether it was a book or a podcast or whatever, just the things that I was learning that week. And I had a lot of people that read that thing, but once I flipped to this new method, I had a lot more people, I'm talking thousands more people engaging with the way that I do this style of copywriting. And so I'm going to give that away and share that with you today. But before we dive into the framework, I want to clarify one thing that I just said a second ago, is that I went from a weekly method to a daily method. And this framework can work with both, but it really is helpful when you're emailing multiple times a week, which I do value. I do think if you're emailing like this, people will give you permission to show up in their inbox every single day. So that multiple emails a week, you can't do your little 5 tips or 5 books or whatever. That's for the weekly stuff. But this is super juicy for multiple emails a week, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever you want to do. So yes, this framework is perfect for that. Now we're going to break down this framework right now, and I'm going to do it live with an email. In fact, one of the best emails I think I've written, at least response-wise, from you guys that you've told me, wow, this was incredible, it was a great time. And so that's just an example of this style of email. So this framework that I do every single day is called the SLOW framework, SLW, SLOW. And what that stands for is story, lesson, offer, okay? Every day I tell a story in my email, and then after the story, I give a little nugget of a lesson and I tie that lesson to my offer, okay? So story, lesson, offer, SLOW. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. And what I'm showing you right now is an email called the airport fiasco, the 3-hour airport fiasco. And what it is I told a story about a very horrendous time that I had at the airport, okay? And I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's about 500 words, but just diving into it, I started with many months ago, I made a god-awful trip to the airport. Right off the bat, you know this is a story. I started with a story many months ago, okay, place in time, right? That's a way to start a story. And then I tell this story, right? Flying back to Atlanta from New Orleans. And if you've ever been at the Atlanta airport, you know this place was a fiasco, frustration, flying off the walls, okay? I'm having a little bit of fun here. Mind you, I've been to this airport many of times, but for whatever reason, I could not navigate this thing, blah, blah, blah. And what I do here is I go through this entire story where I talk about I'm on one side of the airport where I'm trying to get back on the shuttle to drive me to the parking deck to find my car, okay? And I go all the way across the airport to go back to the entrance where I took that shuttle off to go back. Well, I get there and they tell me that shuttle doesn't exist. They don't know how I got here, blah, blah, blah. I should go back to the other side. So I go back 2 miles. They tell me they have no idea what I'm talking about, that I should go back to this side. I go back and forth about 3 times or 4 times, and they tell me to go downstairs. I mean, I was wearing an Apple Watch that day, but my Apple Watch was going absolutely bananas Okay, it was like steps goal achieved, 5K achieved, 10K achieved. I mean, I was walking all over the place and I was carrying luggage. I was pissed. And this story right here was just one of the fun ways to do that. And then what I did, 80% of this email is a story, okay? And when I get down to the very end of it, I teach one tiny lesson to this story. That tiny lesson is complexity. I talked about how the airport was so complex that I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where the shuttle was. I barely even knew how to get back to my car. It took me 3 hours to get back to my car. And the tiny lesson that I extracted was sometimes your business, your online personal brand feels like the airport. It's complexity everywhere. Okay, people don't know what you offer. They don't know how many products you offer, your product pyramid. They don't understand what you're offering, when you're offering, what you write about, what you talk about. And there's just complexity all over the place. So what I did in my SLO framework was I spent 80 to 90% of the time on the story, 10% of the time on the lesson, okay? This is an important factor right here, especially as you see the way that I write. The story should be so entertaining, so fun that people are willing to read it again tomorrow. That's part of that daily email factor, is you're actually buying permission for them to open your email again tomorrow and say, that was so fun, that was so entertaining yesterday. And you're not actually hard selling. Opposed to what many classic copywriters say, I almost never hard sell in my emails because humans are so inundated with marketing nowadays and with advertising that they actually repel hard sells pretty hard, okay? And so what you're actually doing is you're buying value and entertaining, okay? You're whetting the appetite. And then the last 50 words is an offer where I talk about the complexity of business. And I say, if you want a stupid, simple business using my ARM framework, my ARM framework that I talk about in lessons 1, 3, and 6 in my Write, Publish, Chill course, you can go and click the link below to writepublishchill.com, okay? But that SLO framework I use every single day, gets a ton of responses, and it's super fun because it keeps your antennas up for telling the best stories that you can possibly tell, makes you a better storyteller, it gets you more sales, and it's just way more fun to write. So, I hope that was helpful for you. If you like the SLO framework and want even more examples of what that looks like, you can go to my website and read all of my emails, alindragu.com. And that will be really, really helpful. And actually, when you land on the website, you might get a pop-up that says, get Copywriting Catalyst for free. Copywriting Catalyst is 63 cash cow tips that I put together over the last couple years that will help you make more money with copywriting. I can't believe it's free. One day I might just slap a big old price tag on it. But for today, it is free. You can go grab it, put your email in, and I'll automatically send it to you as soon as you put your email in. So enjoy that, and I hope to see you on the next one.